Yo, what is good, family? Hope you all are having an amazing day. A late one today, but still getting it done. Basically, we will break down a setup we had yesterday at the open of the Frankfurt session with Euro USD. Basically, it's the only session that I trade with the Euro. So basically, is the one that you guys will see the most right here in this channel. You can apply this exact same strategy at any pair and any open of the session, as long as in that session there is volatility for said asset. For example, right here we're trading Eurusd. Obviously at the Frankfurt Open, London Open, New York Open is going to be flawless. In case that, for example, let's say you trade USD JPY, trading at Frankfurt Open will be kind of bad. It will not make a lot of sense. You should do it at the New York Open or Tokyo Open. You know what I mean, right? So let's go straight to the point right here on the Frankfurt Open, which was exactly at 8 a.m. Madrid time, 7 a.m. London time, which is somebody will call it like London kill zone, for example, but it's the same thing, right? 8 a.m. Madrid time. Basically, we had all of this bearish movement, and right after this bearish movement, we had low, lower high, and lower low. Going now for this structure more deeply, we have this pullback. We can break down this pullback as a low, high, higher low, higher high. So we have this little movement that creates the pullback to then create the lower low. It's like we see this, right? Lower low, pullback, and then creates a lower low. So this movement that we have right here is literally this. Now, on the way to the downside, the price now creates this bearish movement, but also at the same time creates some kind of a structure. It's like we see here the same thing. Pullback, which is this, like we just explained, and now on the way to the downside, instead of going straight lower, it does something like this. So we have to mark this up. We have to understand which levels are the high, the low, the lower high, and the lower low. So let's break that down. Basically, we can see and understand that from this high, market rejects, this candle closes, next one opens. Low, high, rejects, candle closes, next one opens. High, low, rejects, closes, next one opens. So the movement that we have right here is this. Goes lower, goes up, and then goes lower again. So literally, if we have to draw this up, will be this, and then this. All right, we have high, low, lower high, lower low, high, low, lower high, lower low. Therefore, the structure that we have is this. This is exactly the levels that we have to keep in consideration. Now, it's 7:59 a.m. Charlie, what levels do you have to take the entry? As you guys know, if you haven't seen the videos that we have been uploading all this week long, you should check them, all right? Because over there are all details that you guys need to know about this strategy. 7:59 a.m., 1 minute before the open of the session, or even 5 minutes, whatever. What do? We mark up the last high and the last low. As simple as that, all right? Now, we have to see lower high. Well, this is the last high. What is this? Is a lower high. Therefore, we're looking for a bullish break of a structure. Nice. Now the low is a lower low. Therefore, we should be looking for a rule of the third impulse. Now, perhaps some of you guys are saying, yo, Charlie, but we have this first impulse, this second impulse, we can look for a rule of the third impulse. And I will tell you that's completely wrong, because take notes of this. We haven't broken this down on the YouTube channel, so pay attention to this, all right? The goal of this reversal is to create a lower low. Pay attention to this. The goal, the target of this reversal is this low. So yeah, you can take a break of a structure, but if that is a rule of the third impulse, you have to make sure, pay attention to this, you have to make sure that the second impulse doesn't surpass the lower low. If we have this, that's fantastic, because you're catching the third impulse before price creates the lower low. Therefore, actually makes sense for the price to go lower. But if market does the lower low with the second impulse like this, the target for this rule of the third impulse is already taken. Therefore, when the market goes lower, you should not be looking for a new lower low, because market already met the target that you had in the swing perspective, let's call it. Basically the swing low. Now, understanding this concept, we say that this bearish rule of the third impulse is not valid. Now, in which cases this will still be valid, because this is still lower low broken with a second impulse. In which scenarios this will be valid? Well, let's say that we have this. Alright, let's say that we have this. Boom. If we have, let's say, a bullish structure, fantastic, and now market does one impulse, two impulses. We have high, low, lower high, and lower low. If now we have a pullback, although this internal structure met this low, now still with the generic structure, we have the possibility to still get a bearish rule of the third impulse. So we can scale outside, but it's not the case right here. If we zoom out, obviously on the general structure, we have way more than 3 impulses. All right. In fact, we have, let's say, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th. We have obviously more than 3. Therefore, the bearish rule of the third impulse is not valid. So the only option that we have here is the bullish break off structure. Eventually, the bullish BOS is active. Fantastic. Eventually rejects a little bit. Alright, and this trade was kind of fast. Alright, it was not the type of trade that consolidates for a few hours. No, this was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M5 candles, so not even 30 minutes. That was flawless. So yeah, that was basically the trade, guys. Pretty simple. Alright, nothing else to break down. I wanted to give you some nuggets about the rule of the third impulse and all of that, since it was fitting pretty well for this scenario, that explanation. Besides that, pretty simple setup. So with this being said, family, remember that on the description of the video you have the link to my Instagram channel, to my Instagram profile. You have the possibility to talk to my DMs over there and ask about the information for the private group of students, where you have the intensive course about this exact same strategy, everything way more in detail, with all the information organized, and obviously access to my daily live analysis sessions where I apply this strategy on live market conditions, basically on Eurusd and Bitcoin, alright, on the London Open and New York Open. With this being said, family, see you all tomorrow with a new video. Have a nice rest of the weekend, and let's go.